Welcome. So today what we're going to be having a look at is combining the two skills we've been doing. So creating tables and plotting points, and we're going to be combining it all into one. So use the equation y equals 2x minus 3 to complete the following. Complete a table of values for x equals 0, 2 and 4. Determine the range of x and y values needed on the graph. Draw the graph axes and labels on graph paper, and then plot the coordinates and draw a line through the points. Alrighty, so this is a linear function, and we're going to be having a go at graphing it. So let's start off by drawing up our table. Now, since in the question it asked us to use the x values 0, 2 and 4, my top row is going to be 0, 2 and 4. And so I need to do 3 substitutions. Let's do the first one. X equals 0, so y is equal to 2 times 0 minus 3 minus 3. X equals 2, y equals 2 times 2 minus 3, 4 minus 3, which is 1. And then the last one, x equals 4, y is equal to 2 times 4 minus 3, 8 minus 3 is 5. So we get minus 3 for the first one, 1, and then 5. Alrighty, now once it's to determine the range of the x values and the y values. So the x is ranging from 0 to 4, and the y values are ranging from negative 3 to 5. And the reason that's useful is if I was to draw my own axes, then it would be helpful to know, well, my x1s needs to go from 0, 2, and 4, while my y needs to go from negative 3 all the way up to 5. So it's just to help you set up your axes before you start plotting points. But thankfully, I've already got my axes ready to go. So let's plot some points. So 0, negative 3, 0 on the x-axis, negative 3 on the y, 2, 1, and then 4, 5. And you'll know you've done it right if when you draw that straight line through it, that it is all of the points in a line. Now a good thing once you've drawn your straight line is to pop in the equation. So y equals 2x minus 3. Alrighty. You can have a go at the next questions while I move on to the next example. Alrighty, so let's have a look at 3.3. So Tamari bought a used car worth $8,000. The car depreciates, goes down in value by $1,500 per year. The car's value can be described as y equals 800 minus 1500x, where y is the car's value and x is the number of years. Graph the equation of the value of a car by hand or with technology. We're going to do it by hand. First thing to do is to realize that we have to choose our own x coordinates, because we're always going to be basing our things off our x coordinates. So let's draw up our table. And now we need to think about what we actually want to choose for our x values. Well, x is the number of years. So that means that we are looking to think about sensible years. Now a lot of you would say, well, what happens after 1 year? I would also say it's useful to know what happens at 0 years. What's the car worth right now? And then we can work out 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And we'll start with a few, and hopefully we might even see a pattern if we work at a few. So let's try x equals 0. We get y is equal to 8,000 minus 1,500 times 0. 1,500 times 0 is 0, so it's just 8,000. Let's try x equals 1 after 1 year. Alright, well 1,500 times 1 is 1,500, and so we get 6,500. Let's try x equals 2. $1,500 times 2 is 3,000. 8,000 minus 3,000 is 5,000. Alrighty, so some of you might be able to see the pattern already. If you can't, that's fine. My suggestion is ignore the hundreds. So ignore the fact that there's 2 zeros on the end of each of these numbers. Just have a look at if it was 80, 65, and 50. Think about what the next number would be. I'll do you one more, and we can check if your theory is correct. Times 3. 1,500 times 3 is 4,500, so we're left with 3,500. Alrighty, so at this point, you might notice that the pattern is going minus 1500 each time. That's because of this thing that's hitting the x, this little thing right here. That's what we call a gradient. It tells us how it changes from 1 to the next, one x value to the next x value. So now once I know the pattern, I can subtract off 1,500, left with 2,000, subtract off 1,500, and I'm left with 500. And those are the first 5 years all worked out. Now I'm going to do my x's. Now, you'll notice my x is going to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But my y is going to have to go up in much different. Why? Because the smallest number is 500 and the biggest number is 8,000. So I'm going to go up in a bit bigger numbers. Alrighty, so I've worked out that going up in 2000s, or that each space is 1,000, is the easiest way to do it. Alrighty, so now let's plot our points. So at 0, it was worth 1,800. After 1 year, it was worth 6,500, halfway between 6,000 and 700. Then it went down to 5,000, halfway between 4,000 and 6,000. And you can see that it's starting to make a straight line. So you've got to make sure, 3,500, that the numbers continue to be going in that beautiful straight line. And you'll know you've done it correct if you can draw a straight line through. And always good to write in your equation. X and Y, and we're all finished. Alrighty, so that's part A done. Part B, determine how many years it will take for the car to be worth under $1,000. And you'll notice if we have a look at our table of values, it never actually gets worth $1,000. It goes from 2,000 to 500. However, you'll notice that the 500 is the first time that is under 1,000, because 500 is less than 1,000. So for part B, we just need to say it takes 5 years. Alrighty, and there's my completed sentence. For the value of the car to go below $1,000. Alrighty. There is a few questions going ahead, but you should be able to have a go at everything. Make sure you check your answers as you go through. Alrighty, catch up.